There are many ways to invest in real estate, ranging from publicly traded REITs to buying physical buildings. In this video, I'll be going over the best way to invest in real estate based on my experience in buying $1.5 million worth of real estate over the last 3 years. So you might be asking yourself, what is a REIT? A REIT is a publicly traded security on the stock exchange that trades Monday through Friday and will offer more liquidity than its physical counterpart. With a REIT, you could sell in a matter of minutes versus standard physical real estate, which could take months to sell. REITs, like any publicly traded company, have many expenses that come along with operating the business. REITs are often associated with higher fees. REITs are required to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to investors via dividends. REITs offer a lot of advantages, but with these advantages, there's also a good amount of disadvantages as well. REITs, like any publicly traded company, have many expenses that come along with operating the business. REITs are often associated with higher fees, and it's not uncommon to have acquisition fees, management fees, administrative fees, as well as performance-based fees. Furthermore, REITs are required to invest 75% of the cash held back into real estate. That might sound good. However, if for some reason in a year they sell a property and now they're stuck with a boatload of cash on the sidelines, they're required by law to invest it into another asset to avoid being out of compliance. With that, the first thing that comes to mind to me is where you're required to invest that money, what's the quality of that future asset look like? Finding a great asset can take time. So when you're forced to make these investments and your back's up against the clock, I wouldn't be surprised if the quality of the asset choice tanked in exchange for meeting the compliance guidelines. Further on this point, as an investor, you have no choice over the buildings that are being purchased. So you're basically a silent investor trusting the REIT board of directors with your money to hopefully make a good decision on the investment they're purchasing. This is the trade-off with all stock investing. However, I felt it's extremely important to note it here, as this is one of the huge benefits that come with real estate investing that you're giving up going the REIT route. I'll be posting every Tuesday and Friday, so don't forget to check back for future videos and turn on that notification bell so you'll be notified every single time I post. Also, subscribe. Additionally, there are other ways to invest in real estate, such as the fix and flip route. A major key for this route is for you to buy the property for under repair value. This requires you to buy the property, say, for $600,000 is the after repair value. Comps to get it fixed up into comp value is $80,000. Then that means that you'd have to buy the property for $416,000 and hope that the rehab costs don't come in higher than expected. Now, this route is often glorified on HGTV as it looks super easy, right? All you have to do is pick out the perfect appliances, fixtures, paint colors, and floors, right? Well, not quite. More often than not, these flippers fail to turn a profit because the market flipped, or renovations take longer than expected, or renovation costs are underestimated, or the property simply can't be altered to actually meet the comp value. With flipping, it's super risky and is a heck of a lot more than a quick cash grab it's glorified to be. So when you go the house flipper route, there's a lot that needs to go right and little room for anything to go wrong. Or else, if anything goes wrong, there's a possibility you'll be underwater and underwater fast. Flippers generally acquire rehab projects with what's called hard money loans. A hard money loan is cash from a private investor for a short term with high rates and less than favorable terms. Now, with these hard money loans, it's not uncommon to see short terms with no prepayment penalties, a 15% rate, points paid up front, and on the total after repair value, and a requirement of 25% down. Now, these terms can totally vary based off of your experience level, as your success rate directly impacts the amount of risk the lender is exposed to. But as you can see, these terms are still less favorable than a 30-year note with a 6% rate, no points, and a 20% down payment, which is what you get with a conventional loan. The difference here is hard money loans are generally deal dependent and don't require as much weight into the actual borrower. So if you have a decent track record, can come up with a down payment, and the deal makes sense, then the chances are pretty decent that you'll be able to get the loan. Additionally, hard money loans offer a 1-week turnaround time from going under contract to closing. They provide capital for the rehab cost, and once again, don't put as much weight into the standard borrower as a normal loan would. The conventional loan, there's a lot of weight that's put into the borrower's income and credit score. On a hard money loan, this isn't considered nearly as much. The biggest risk when it comes to the combo of flipping in these hard money loans is with the carrying costs. At high interest rates, if something goes wrong and the rehab costs come out much higher than expected, or the project rehab takes longer than expected, it can eat into profit margins very fast. Also, with flips being associated to sub 1 year turnaround times from purchase to rehab to sale, you are exposed to the highest capital gains tax bracket due to not holding the property for longer than a year. For these reasons, as Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank would say, I'm out. 2 to 4 unit residential route. This, in my opinion, is a great starting point to get your bearings and systems in place. 2 to 4 unit multifamily route allows you to get the best of both worlds. You get favorable terms of a residential loan. This is the 30-year loan term with a 20% down payment and decent interest rates, while also getting the exposure to multiple sources of income, as each unit that you have is considered another source of income. With exposure to residential 30-year mortgages, it offers the lower monthly payments as the loan is extended over the 30-year period, with decent upside as you have the multiple sources of income that you can control. Additionally, it offers the ability to buy a property for under repair value, fix it up via sweat equity, and capitalize on the margin from the money saved on doing the work HGTV style. Residential real estate isn't without its risks, however. The less units you have and the more technical risk you're exposed to. Reason for this is if you have one tenant that moves out and you don't get the vacant unit rented in immediately, then you may be responsible for coming out of pocket for the standard maintenance, mortgage, and overall cost to operate the place. So, for example, if you have a duplex and this happens, you would be responsible for coming up with the 50% of the normal expenses out of pocket because you don't have the additional tenants to supplement that cost. If you have a 4-unit and one of the tenants moves out, now you're only responsible for 25% of the cost versus a duplex. One of the tenant moves out, now you're responsible for 50% of the cost. So deal depending, this could be the difference maker between having to come up with thousands of dollars out of pocket and just simply taking a small hit on your profit margin and not having to come up out of pocket at all. Then there's the commercial route. It's important to note that there's different types of commercial real estate. There's multifamily commercial, which is the 5+ residential units. Then there's the storefront, grocery store, office space type commercial real estate. Residential type commercial real estate is basically like the standard 2 to 4 unit properties, just with different loans and less unit turnover risk, as you have more units to offset the out-of-pocket expense if someone moves out and you have a vacancy. Also, with commercial real estate, it's more valued based off of the income the actual property produces versus the local comps in the area. Cap rates, gross rent multipliers, cost per rentable square foot, and value per door are all ways to value this type of real estate versus the comparable sales approach. The reason for this is simple, because it's much harder to find 2 similar 100-unit properties with similar square feet, bed, bath, and style within a 5-mile radius than it is to find The average sellable cap rate in the area for a 10-unit apartment is 6%, and the cost per door is $150,000 with no upgrades and $170,000 with upgrades. And those upgrades only cost $5K. So now I know there's a potential for profit of $150,000. 15K per door times 10 doors equals a potential for profit of $150,000. Commercial real estate is fantastic for that exact reason. If you find a way to increase the income the property produces, then you inadvertently directly increase the amount the property is worth, which is pretty damn cool. The type of commercial real estate that is storefronts, office space, this kind of thing, I'm certainly not an expert on, and I don't want to give you any misleading information on this. So I'm going to leave it up to you to do your own due diligence on this subject matter to determine if this might be a better route. But for me, I don't know much about it, and it's not on my radar as far as a good investment because I don't know enough about it. The best type of real estate is commercial, residential, multifamily real estate. And the reason being is because, once again, if you increase the amount of income that the property produces, it automatically increases the value of the property. So if you're able to do this, it very quickly can increase your income fast. What I did was I started small. I started with duplexes. I acquired 3 of those. And then now I am in the process of moving to commercial real estate now that I have the systems in place for tenant turnover, tenant management, as well as asset management. I have the systems in place. So now that I have the systems in place, I'm going to go ahead and move them on over to more units because, once again, more units means more sources of income. And with more sources of income, there's a higher opportunity for net worth growth as well as less risk, because the more sources of income, the less risk if one tenant moves out. Added bonus with commercial multifamily real estate is everything's under one roof. So instead of having 3 separate duplexes, you could have 1 6-unit property with 1 roof to repair, 1 set of systems to replace if need be. It's all in one location, so you don't have to travel to 3 separate to fix 3 separate roofs and so on. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe. If I get to 100,000 subscribers by 12/31 of 2024, I'll be donating the full month of December's YouTube proceeds to the American Cancer Society. So like, subscribe, and drop a comment on what you might want to see in the future. If it's a substantial topic, I'll make a video on it. If it's not, I'll make a short. But like I said, make sure you like, subscribe, go check out one of my other videos, and I look forward to seeing you in that other video over here.